Today's the day we add rock to the tank. The main reason I think I've always been a big fan of special grade, because I've done Fiji Pink, I've done the other pretty nice and colorful ones. The only problem is anytime you have medium to high flow, guess what? That sand gets blown everywhere. And at the end of the day, it's very hard to keep it where you want it. So I found special grade is a lot better at staying put, and generally speaking I have a lot better luck with it with medium to high flow. I am after about a 1-inch sand bed. I've never been a big fan of thick sand beds. So this may be, I might have an extra box left over, which will be a total of 40 pounds, but you know, we're gonna have to see. It still has liquid in it. When you do get the sand, guys, just look at the best before date. Make sure you're still well within it, and you should be good to go to use it. I have all this sand out here ready to go. I have 120 pounds of sand. I think this is enough. I have an extra 40 pounds in the garage, but I don't think I'm gonna need it to create the 1-inch sand bed I'm looking for. But if we do need it, it's not that far away. All the sand is in. This is 120 pounds. It looks like it may be enough. I actually may need at least another bag, but we'll see when we start flattening it out. As I'm flattening it out, I want to make sure I get all the little baggies that come with them. So since I already put in a total of 6 bags, I'm going to look for 6 of these small baggies here as I'm flattening it out. You can see there's already 1. I can see 2, and I'm sure I'll find the rest here. But of course, I'm just going to make sure we have a total of 6. All you guys are seeing me do here is level out the sand as best I can. Also remember keeping count of these little baggies that come in the Caribsea. I dumped a total of 6 bags in there, so I should find 6 of these baggies. I mean, if you accidentally left one in there, it's not a big deal. It'd probably eventually flow up, but it's obviously a lot easier to try and locate it now while we're smoothing out the whole sand bed. Got everything pretty nice and smoothed out. It was 100 and just like I had guessed, 120 pounds I thought it was what I was going to use. It's roughly about a 1-inch sand bed. Believe it or not, it's a little bit on the thicker side as far as I like, specifically here. You know, I'm okay with something like that, but something like that is a little bit too much. One thing I will say, you're better off having too much though in the tank, because it's so much easier to take it out later than it is to add some more. And the reason is, when you add some more brand new sand into a new tank, it tends to cloud it. So I'd rather have a little bit more, and over time, you know, I can easily take a slight, you know, a little bit out. It wouldn't take too much to take out. Or of course, I can move it probably towards the rear of the tank, or I can easily manipulate it. Like I said, it's nothing bad. I can totally deal with it. That's pretty much that. Now it is time to add the rock in the tank, and you're probably noticing, wait. Why is there sand in there before the rock? Well, long story short, if you've ever dropped a piece of rock inside a tank, it's not a good day. Especially if you ever do it on a tank this big and this expensive, I guarantee you're going to wish you would have done what I'm doing now. So think of what I'm doing here a way of insurance. Obviously, as you can see here, putting my finger around the base of the rock to ensure that it is making contact, wiggling a little bit to ensure that the rock itself is making total contact with the bottom of the tank. Just like I originally thought, this purple Caribsea live rock was going to look super nice against the white Caribsea sand. And yeah, I'm really happy with it. If you guys saw, I actually wiggled it into place. I made sure that it was making contact. The funny thing is, you'll be able to hear when the rock is touching the glass. You can essentially hear it kind of scratching it. So don't do it too hard. You're never going to see the bottom. It really doesn't matter if it scratches it a little bit. But don't apply too much pressure. It doesn't need a lot of pressure down. Just kind of wiggle it into place, and then you'll be able to hear when it's making contact. I also put my finger on the in the sand where I can verify that indeed the rock structure is making contact with the bottom of the tank. So next is going to be this arch here on the right, and we should be pretty much done. For the right side of the rock, doing the same thing. You can see I have a little protective towel on the top of the light bar. That's what that yellow thing is. So here what I'm doing, I'm making sure the spacing from right to left is equal. So I had to lay the right one down, then push the left one over a little bit. Finally, when I was happy with the spacing from right to left, we were able to move on. The final aquascaping has been done. I actually did it in 2 pieces originally to put it in a lot easier. And it kind of is going to be a hybrid of a two-piece. This is where these two attached. If you guys saw in the video earlier, I went ahead and added filler pieces with some CA or coral glue, as you guys know it. I have some accelerator here to accelerate it, to hold in the position it's in. And then this is going to get cemented as soon as this glue cures. This here, if you see this joint, this arch joins this donut shape here, this is actually not going to be cemented. So if in the future I ever need to undo the scape, it can break away in two pieces. It's a lot easier to break away the coral glue than it is the cement. The cement, it's not going to break. The rock is actually going to break. That's going to be my failure point on purpose in the future. As soon as I lift this arch and you hold this down, it'll instantly break there. But it's more than strong enough for now to hold it in place. It's important when you are working on the aquascape or even putting it in your tank, it's good to have cardboard pieces where you see the rock coming in close contact, or if something does fail, it'll hit the glass. So I have this piece here. It actually fell, not super hard, but it did rub against it earlier. Luckily I did have that piece. I'm really happy with it. Happy with my spacing, right, left, front. And yeah, I can easily get more than easily get a glass cleaner around it. So now I'm just going to finalize, make sure the bottom here is touching, and then we should be able to put some accelerator on the coral glue. I'm so happy how everything came out, and I just put some accelerator on it. There we go. It doesn't take much. And you want to make sure you let it cure for a little bit, because the accelerator will actually harden the outside almost instantly. But you'll notice since it's coral glue, it's pretty thick. So it takes a little bit, probably about 20 minutes for the inside to start curing. I'll give it about 30 minutes, then I'll start cementing it, and that should be good. You guys can ignore this thing. It's only there to catch this arch if it does happen to fall. If it tilts this way, it'll catch it. But that is pretty much it. Threw on the light. Very happy how this thing looks. I leveled out the sand bed a little bit more, made sure it went around the rock. And let me tell you guys, this thing looks absolutely stunning. In picture, here on video it looks a little bit bluer than I'm seeing it, but let me tell you, this thing is absolutely beautiful. As a friend I have always says, it presents very well. Yeah, this thing is, my God, it's beautiful. One of the hard things I had was to create this arch here on the right side. The hard thing wasn't to create it, the hard thing was my plans are to have dominant SPS in this tank, very few LPS. You know, the higher you make the arches, the more contrast generally they'll make in the scape and the more dramatic they look. The problem becomes when you start to put acro colonies on there, you have very limited space before they reach the water line. So I did my best to, make it as nice as I could. And I think I'm happy with it. I think it'll end up working out. It's interesting, this donut structure here, I originally wanted to cover up the top. This rock isn't really part of it, but it's a big old donut, if you will. Actually, after looking at it in person, I think I'm gonna leave it open like that. I really love the look it makes. In video, it's very difficult to catch, the contrast, the way you guys interpret shot. Like, see, for you guys, you're not really able to see that this piece here is the front piece. On video, it looks like it's all one piece when it's really not. You see that? Yeah, so it's very difficult to show contrast in aquascapes, but let me tell you, it looks really nice. I'm beyond happy with it. So guys, I think I'm gonna end this video here. I still have quite a bit of checklists to do before this thing is up and running. The plumbing's all done. I've made sure I glued everything, but I wanna remake sure again that everything's glued down. All the bulkheads are nice and tight. Everything's making a good seal before I do start this thing up. Trust me, I'd love to start throwing water in it right now, but something this big, if I don't tighten something or it leaks or there's an issue, it's times 10 because the tank is just that much bigger compared to what I've previously had. But I will tell you guys is I'm gonna do my best to get on that checklist, make sure everything's checked off. And so far, guys, I think we can all look forward to getting this thing up and running. So I thank each and every one of you very much who stayed all the way to the very end to watch. If you're one of those people, please let me know down below in the comments. Also, I'd love to hear your thoughts. What do you guys think about the aquascape? Maybe you do things differently. Maybe you're not a guy to put your sand first and then your rock. I'd love to hear down below. I thank each and every one of you very much for watching. As always, happy reefing.